Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to the course Nutrition for the Family. This is the third module. We are studying about nutrition care during adulthood. Now, this is the fourth and last lecture in which we shall be studying about the micronutrient requirements of adults, that is, vitamins. I am Dr. Jaspreet Kaur, presently working as Associate Professor in Government College for Girls, Ludhiana, Punjab, affiliated to Punjab University, Chandigarh. And this project is funded by DTH Swayam Prabha, MHRD, New Delhi. In the last lecture, we had studied about macro and micro minerals which are needed by the adults. In this lecture, we shall be studying about the vitamins, that is water-soluble vitamins and the fat-soluble vitamins. And after that, we shall be studying about the role of water and some antioxidants and balanced diet for adults. So let's study. Thiamine or vitamin B1. It is a water-soluble vitamin and it is needed for carbohydrate and lipid metabolism. It is found in whole grain cereals, nuts, oil seeds, green leafy vegetables, other vegetables, milk and organ meats, eggs and pork. Rice bran, wheat bran and wheat germ, they are the richest sources of vitamin B1, that is thiamine. It is lost through milling, polishing, cooking, and processing, and almost 40 to 50% of thiamine it is lost during cooking. And along with that, tannic acid, which is there in the tea, and the betel nut, it destroys vitamin B1. In our country, vitamin to energy ratio of B1 is below requirement due to inadequate intake of this vitamin. Its deficiency causes neuropathy and the severe deficiency causes beriberi. So the requirement of B vitamin, thiamine, it is dependent upon the type of lifestyle. That means the physical activity because its recommendation is based on the amount of calories which are recommended for that person. So for man, who is sedentary, his recommendation is 1.4 milligram daily. For moderate worker, it is 1.8, and for heavy worker, it is 2.3 milligrams. Whereas for females, it is 1.4, 1.7, and 2.2 milligrams respectively. Vitamin B2 or riboflavin, it is involved in oxidation reduction reactions, energy production, and antioxidant activity. It is required in metabolism of other vitamins such as vitamin B3, vitamin B6, and vitamin K. The food sources of vitamin B2 are milk, liver, kidney, heart, egg whites, green leafy vegetables, legumes, mushrooms, and almonds. Along with that, grain, germ, and bran also contain vitamin B2. It is a light sensitive vitamin and cooking losses are around 20%. The deficiency of vitamin B2 is rampant in India and it causes angular stomatitis and chillosis and glossitis. These are the problems related to the lips and tongue. And it is recommended that the minimum intake of 1.2 milligram is needed to avoid these deficiency symptoms. So coming to the RDA, just like vitamin B1, this is also required on the basis of amount of energy consumed. So for adult man, it is 2, for a sedentary and 2.5 milligram for a moderate worker and 3.2 milligram for a heavy worker. So same way for a woman, it is 1.9, 2.4 and 3.1 milligram based on their physical activity. Let's talk about vitamin B3 or niacin. It is involved in many important activities, that is glycolysis and tissue respiration and fatty acid metabolism. It is also required for the synthesis of certain macromolecules inside our body. It can be synthesized from one essential amino acid that is known as tryptophan. 60 milligram of tryptophan can produce 1 milligram of niacin. It is also present in plant foods, nuts, oil seeds and liver. It is a heat stable vitamin and approximately 25% of it is lost during the cooking and processing. Its deficiency causes pellagra, and which also results in photosensitive dermatitis, skin lesions, hyperpigmentation, sore mouth, diarrhea, dementia, and depression as its symptoms. The requirement of vitamin B3, just like B1 and B2, it is based on the physical activity lifestyle. So its requirement for man is 14, 18 and 23 milligram respectively for sedentary, moderate and heavy worker, and for a woman it is 11, 14 and 18 milligram per day. However, the tolerable upper limit has been provided, that is 35 milligrams per day both for men and women. Let's talk about pantothenic acid, that is vitamin B5. It is an important component of coenzyme A. Its food sources are beef, poultry, seafoods and organ meats along with eggs and milk. Vegetables such as mushrooms, avocados, potato, broccoli, they are also sources of vitamin B5. And along with that, whole grains such as whole wheat, brown rice and oats, along with certain nuts like peanuts, sunflower seeds and chickpeas, they are good sources of pantothenic acid. Now we do not have RDA for vitamin B5, so the adequate intake is set as 5 milligram per day. Let's talk about an important vitamin, that is pyridoxine or vitamin B6. It is involved in a large number of enzyme reactions and important metabolic pathways. It is required in the synthesis of certain neurotransmitters such as serotonin or dopamine, etc. Along with vitamin B2 and B12, it is involved in metabolism of homocysteine to cysteine. This is a very important reaction, and it is involved in immune system and nucleic acid metabolism also. It has a crucial role in antioxidant metabolism, and its sources are garlics, clove, nuts, seeds, poultry, chicken, liver, and sugarcane, etc. So the approximate cooking losses of vitamin B6 is around 13%. And its requirement, it is linked to the protein content of the diet. Let us see the RDA for vitamin B6. For male, sedentary male, it is 1.9 milligram daily, and for moderate worker it is 2.4, and for 3.1 is for heavy worker. And when we talk about women, it is 1.9, 1.9 both for sedentary and moderate worker, and 2.4 milligram is needed for a heavy worker female. The tolerable upper limit has been set to be as 100 milligram daily. Next vitamin is biotin or B7. It acts as cofactor for enzymes. It is found in a variety of protein foods such as lean meats, poultry, eggs, seafood, beans, peas, lentils, nuts and seeds, and soya products. And its adequate intake is set as 25 micrograms daily. Now let us discuss folic acid. It is a water-soluble vitamin which is a natural form of vitamin B9. Its important function is it is involved in the transfer of single carbon unit which is required for the reactions of nucleic acid and amino acids. Along with vitamin B12, it is required for the synthesis of nucleic acids. It is needed for the all fast growing cells of our body, and it is needed for the methylation of DNA. It supplies methionine for the amino acid synthesis, and the synthetic form of folic acid, it is used in the fortification of the food. Now the sources of folic acid are fish, chicken, liver, and the plant-based sources are cereals, legumes, pulses, and green leafy vegetables, other vegetables, and it comes in free form and conjugated form. Now the fiber which is present in the various vegetarian sources, it affects the bioavailability of folic acid. So spinach, liver, chickpeas, kidney beans, they are among the foods with the highest level of folate levels. And the deficiency of folic acid, it causes increased level of homocysteine. As we have seen in the case of vitamin B6 also, that it is required for the conversion of homocysteine to cysteine. Whenever there are elevated homocysteine levels, there are higher chances of development of cardiovascular diseases. So its deficiency of folic acid also elevates homocysteine levels, and along with that it can cause megaloblastic anemia. It is a type of anemia. Now let us see the requirement of folic acid. And as you can see in this slide, the requirements, they are not based on the physical activity. Rather, the RDA for men, it is 300 micrograms, and for women, it is 220 micrograms per day. Now let's talk about cyanocobalamin, that is vitamin B12. It is a water-soluble vitamin which is required for the formation of genetic material in the cell, and it keeps the nerve cells and blood cells healthy. It is required for one carbon metabolic pathways which are related to the substrate metabolism. Its sources are milk and dairy products, fish, poultry, meat, and along with that, some fortified breakfast cereals also contain vitamin B12. Its deficiency causes pernicious anemia, and which causes loss of appetite, constipation can happen, weakness, weight loss, neurological symptoms such as depression can also occur because of its deficiency. Now, its estimated average requirement is 2 micrograms, and 2.2 microgram is the RDA for vitamin B12. Now, let us move ahead to another vitamin, that is vitamin C. As we know, it plays a major role as antioxidant. It is an electron donor to the enzymes. It is required for the collagen synthesis. It stabilizes the folate in the food and plasma. And as we know, it promotes the absorption of non-heme iron also. Its sources are citrus fruits, which are fresh. So tomatoes, berries, green leafy vegetables, they are rich sources. And as we know, it is a heat and light and oxygen sensitive vitamin. It reacts with iron, copper, tin vessels also. It is stable in the dry condition, but its losses are more when it is in the solution form. And in the high temperature or cooking for a longer period of time, it causes loss of vitamin C. And along with that, if the pH of the dish is low, or if we are maintaining the lower pH, it stabilizes the vitamin C. And if the pH is going above towards the alkaline nature, then it will cause losses of vitamin C. Its deficiency causes scurvy, bleeding gums, and ulcers. Let us see what is the RDA for vitamin C. It is 80 milligram for males and 65 milligram for females, whereas the tolerable upper limit in the form of supplements is 2000 milligrams daily. Vitamin A is an essential nutrient and it's provitamin A, that is beta carotene, alpha carotene, beta cryptoxanthin. They are abundantly present in the plants. The preformed of vitamin A ester, it is found in milk and its products, eggs, meat products, and fortified foods. And it has an important role in our vision maintenance and overall health due to involvement in many activities. It is also associated with the embryonic development and it has an important role to play in the immunity also. Its deficiency is common in the ignorant people and poor strata people, and protein and zinc deficiency or the infections, they inhibit the utilization of vitamin A inside our body. Let us see the RDA. The RDA for vitamin A is 1000 microgram for males and 840 micrograms for females, and the tolerable upper limit is 3000 micrograms daily. Vitamin D, it is synthesized in skin when we expose our skin to ultraviolet B radiations. And its conversion, it is affected by the season, time, duration of the exposure, then the skin pigmentation, air pollution, latitude in which we are living, type of clothing, sunscreen if we put on our skin, or the amount of skin exposure. And uh, it comes from certain food sources. They are, for example, the plant sources such as mushroom or the yeast, they are plant sources, and animal sources such as fish and egg, they contain vitamin D. And its deficiency is caused because all of us, we have seen so many people, they are going for sedentary jobs, and we are not venturing out in the sun, and that is how the exposure to sun has reduced. And along with that, osteomalacia and weak bones, they are many found in many people because of low exposure to the sunlight and resulting in deficiency of vitamin D. So let us see the RDA for vitamin D. As we can see, RDA for vitamin D is same both for men and women. It is 600 international unit both for men and women, though the tolerable upper limit is 4000 IU per day. So it is recommended that the importance of outdoor physical activity is very important to be highlighted, as it is a mean of achieving adequate vitamin D status in the tropical country like India. The next vitamins are alpha tocopherol and vitamin K. Alpha tocopherol, it occurs in the vegetable oils. It is also known as vitamin E, and its requirement is related to the protection of fatty acids which are present in the seeds. So it is required that 0.8 milligram per gram of essential fatty acid should be consumed in the form of vitamin E. So the requirement has been set anywhere between 7.5 to 10 milligrams per day, and it is contained in vegetable oil or some invisible fat from the cereal, from the vegetables and nuts. They provide sufficient amount of vitamin E, and along with that, many of these oils, they are enriched with vitamin E. Vitamin K has a role in blood clotting mechanism, and the recommended allowance for vitamin K has been set both for men and women as 55 micrograms per day. Now, let us talk about an important nutrient, that is water. It is essential for various activities such as transportation of nutrient and oxygen to the cells. It is required for the maintenance of our blood volume and functioning of our cardiovascular system and digestive system, our acid-base balance, regulation of body temperature, and if we have to eliminate the toxins from our body, lubrication of our skin and tissues, and maintenance of elasticity of tissue is also dependent upon the water. Then our muscles, our cell shape, all these things, they are decided, they are affected by the amount of water inside our body. So it is needed for the hydration of brain cells also, and it is needed for better cognitive function. So its sources are either we get it through beverages or we get it through the food. Now, let us see what is the recommendation for men and women. So again, depending upon the type of activity and the season, it will be varying. So if the person is working more under stringent conditions, his recommendations of water will go up. Now, this is the total requirement of water, and out of which it is recommended that water requirement from the beverage should be according to milliliter per kilogram of our body weight. Say for adult man, he should take 32 milliliter of water per kilogram of his body weight. So same way is for moderate worker, for heavy worker, and for women, sedentary, moderate and heavy worker. As the amount of activity increases, the requirement of water increases. Now let us discuss about the role of antioxidants for the maintenance of health in adults. Antioxidants, they are the substances which can be nutrients such as vitamin E, vitamin C, beta carotene and selenium, etc. And along with that, they could be non-nutrients also. For example, plant phenols, flavonoids or curcumins, etc. They reduce the severe effect of reactive oxygen species and nitrogen species which are generated during the physiological and pathological conditions. Whenever so many wear and tear is going inside our body, so many free radicals, they are produced inside our body when our body is metabolizing or making some new macronutrients from the food. And along with that, some pathological conditions, when there is some infection, there are so many reactions which produce free radicals, and this condition is known as oxidative damage. So vegetables, fruits, legumes, spices and some beverages such as tea and wine, they are excellent sources of antioxidants. So scientific studies, they have shown the protective role of vegetables and fruits in the chronic diseases. People who are from low socioeconomic strata or who are tobacco users or who have some restricted diets because of some fads in their mind, so they need vegetable, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds and spices along with low dairy fat to postpone the aging process and to prevent the diet related chronic diseases such as heart diseases or diabetes. So it is recommended that we should consume generous amount of fruits and vegetables, say anywhere between 400 to 500 grams of fruits and vegetables to mitigate the oxidative damage. Now let's see with the help of this table, which is a summary of estimated average requirement for Indians 2020 given by Indian Council of Medical Research. If we see in this category of man and a woman of varying degrees of activity, we can see the first recommendation is of energy. Since we do not have any recommended dietary allowance which is suggested in these guidelines. So the EAR for energy, it is equivalent to estimated energy requirement. That is, this shows that the amount of energy should be based on the physical activity, and there are no extra margins when it comes to recommendation for energy. And if we see another nutrient, that is protein, and after that there are EAR recommendations for some important minerals, that is calcium, magnesium, iron, zinc, iodine. And after that we have vitamin uh, B complex, in which thiamine, riboflavin, niacin and B6, they are based on the physical activity. And after that we have folate, vitamin B12, vitamin C, and there are two fat soluble vitamins, that is vitamin A and D. So this was about the EAR for Indians. Now let us see, this is the another table, that is summary of RDA for Indians 2020. That means recommended dietary allowance, in which allowance has been given for variations, which are variations from individual to individual, or according to the different type of eating pattern, or people who are from the diverse backgrounds. So this includes the safety margins, which is added to the EAR. So these recommendations, as we can see, there are no RDA for energy, as we have seen in the previous slide. And another addition is dietary fiber. So according to the amount of energy consumed, there is RDA for dietary fiber also. And after that we have all those nutrients, just like minerals, and then water soluble vitamins, and then fat soluble vitamins. This table shows acceptable macronutrient distribution range, that is known as AMDR. Now this tells us, if we are going to prepare balanced diet for adults, how much of contribution should come from each macronutrient. Now let us talk about proteins. It says that the PE ratio, that means protein to energy ratio of energy, should be in between 5 to 15. So it will depend upon the protein quality, as if the protein quality is not good, the person is on pure vegetarian diet and he is taking only cereals as the major source of protein. So his protein requirements will be more. And if he is not consuming uh, enough energy, again it will disturb the protein energy ratio, as the protein will not be properly utilized. So therefore the quality of protein and the total energy intake, both of them have to be considered. So the percent of energy coming from the protein should be in the range of 5 to 15%. So let's talk about total fat. Regarding total fat, as we know that the 20 grams is the minimum fat which should come from the food sources, and the energy contribution from the fats can be in the range of 15 to 35%. Though the normal range, it should be anywhere between 20 to 30% of the calories. And along with that, as we know, the quantity is fine, but the quality of fat is also very important. Regarding N6 and N3 PUFA, as we have already discussed before, the 5 to 10 parts should be N6 PUFA and 1 part should be N3 polyunsaturated fatty acids, that is N3 PUFA. So the energy contribution from fats will be 4 to 10% of the total energy, and 0.5 to 1% of the energy should come from N3 PUFA for good heart health. And for carbohydrates, it is recommended that 45 to 64%, 65% that should come from carbohydrates, and along with that minimum 100 to 130 grams of carbohydrates should be consumed for good brain health. This table shows the key micronutrients in the different food groups, such as in cereals or in pulses, green leafy vegetable, other vegetable, root and tuber, fruits, milk, and of buffalo and cow, egg, chicken, mutton, beef, and fish, liver. They are contributing certain type of nutrients. For example, the iron contribution from cereal is 3 grams, 3 milligrams, or the zinc is 2.16 milligrams if we are consuming or including the food from that food group. And if we see this liver, it is the richest source of B12 vitamin. So similarly, choosing food from different food groups can help us in planning balanced diet for an adult. This table shows the balanced diet for sedentary man with the nutrient content value. Now, as we can see in this table, these are the nutrients which are given, and for a vegetarian diet, what should be the amount which should be consumed, and for non-vegetarian diet, how many calories and proteins can be consumed, what is the EAR and what is the RDA. They are given in the consolidated form in the recommended dietary allowance form in the RDA 2020, which is given by ICMR in 2020. So along with that, as we see, they have given this food composition also. They have guided the adult how to choose the foods from each food group. For example, this is the diet plan for a sedentary man. So he should consume 275 grams of cereals and millets. He should take pulses of 80 grams, and he should take green leafy vegetables 100 gram, other vegetables 200 grams, roots and tubers 100 grams, fruits 150 gram, 300 milliliters of milk should be taken, 25 grams of fats can be included, and along with that, oil seeds such as gingerly seeds or peanuts, they should be consumed 30 grams, and spices 10 gram. And there is also a suggestion that for cereals and millets, it is recommended to consume 50% as whole grains. And it is also considered here, it is suggested that pulses can be replaced with the animal food such as egg, meat, fish, and chicken for the non-vegetarian in this second group. So this was for a sedentary man. Now, again, same thing has been replicated for a moderately active man. Same how many nutrients he should take if he's a vegetarian, if he's a non-vegetarian, what should be the EAR of each nutrient, what should be the RDA, and along with that, how he can meet his increased need. See, there is increase in the cereals and millets, and along with that, he needs an extra serving of pulses. Rest of all these things are same, and he needs 30 grams of fat. And so this was all about how to make a healthy and balanced diet for males. Let's summarize what we have studied in this module. In this module, we have studied about the dietary requirements and the nutrient requirements of adults. We studied about what are the common physiological changes that happen, and what are the factors which affect the nutrient requirements of the adults. And then we studied about the macronutrient requirements, in which we studied about the energy requirement, protein requirement, fats, carbohydrates, and fiber requirements for the adults. And in the next lecture, we studied about the micro and macro minerals. And in this lecture, we focused on the vitamins, that is water soluble vitamins and fat soluble vitamins, what is their estimated average requirements, and what is the RDA, what is the tolerable upper limit. And then we studied about the role of water, recommended dietary intake of water, and role of antioxidants, and then we studied about a bit about the healthy food choices, healthy lifestyle, and we studied about the balanced diet for adults. So this finishes our module, dietary guidelines for adults and their nutritional needs. Thank you very much.